welcome back into the Southern Showdown podcast on the Saturday morning of Week 8. We got a Tripp coming around the screen. We're having to do this one a little different this week. This one's going to be short and sweet. We just want to make sure we get you guys our picks. Setting up over here. Last week we saw Tennessee get a little bit of a defensive win.
Oh, yeah, a gritty win on the at home.
Yeah, man. I mean, it kind of sucked seeing the offense do what they did. It was great seeing the running attack be the way it was with that three-headed monster, but at the same time, I mean, kind of sad to see Joe still not turning it. I don't see him kind of exploding in this Alabama game today.
Oh, yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah. A little bit of a scuff setup today. We don't got our guy behind the scenes here today, but we're doing the best we can and trying to get their picks out. But just like you said, I don't know that Joe's going to show up today on the road, but maybe so. A lot of external factors in this game. They're going to play a big part, so we'll see.
And all the other SEC games that were last week, y'all should have just watched them. So we're sorry. We ain't got much for you on it this week.
I think we both ended up going 4-2 last week in our picks. We had the exact same picks. So
that makes me 21-30.
And it makes me 24-27 on the year.
You're on the road.
Yeah, the past 4 weeks I've had.
The road to even.
I had one loss week and two loss weeks, and then just one kind of bad week. I think I went 2-5 2 weeks ago, but I'm looking to go even this week. At least break even finally. We're struggling a little bit in the SEC. It's been a weird year for the SEC. A lot of teams not being what you think.
Exactly.
Like
some teams
just
being
look
more
at
than you thought.
Just look at Alabama and Tennessee this week playing each other. It was a 52-49 ball game last year, and they played 101 total points. And I'm looking. I don't know what the number is, but I'm taking the under.
I believe it's 47.5.
Yeah, I definitely take the under in that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be low scoring, like old school type defense. Run the ball a lot. Maybe hit one explosive play over the top. Type game. It's going to be a lot different. These two teams are predicated on defense this year, and they both don't have the two top guys in the SEC at quarterback this year either. So it's a drastic difference between these two teams.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to who does hit that over the top play and who wins. I've told you this earlier in the week. Who's going to win the turnover battle in this game? I think the team that wins the turnover battle and the team that has more explosive plays is the team that's going to win this game, even though this game's technically going to be won in the trenches.
100%.
I mean, back to an old school football game, and that's pretty cool. I mean, it's not what if at the beginning of the season you would have predicted this game to look like by any means, but both these teams have a struggling quarterback, good run game. The offensive lines are a little bit struggling, but the defenses look good. So just look for a lot of sacks in this game. Both quarterbacks are going to get hit. I expect Jalen Milroe to get hit a little more than our boy Joe, but can Joe stand out a little bit and just have this be his breakout game? I would love to see that, but I don't. I'm not predicting that by any means.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and just hop into all of these picks for this week.
Let's hop into it.
Go ahead and start us off with Mississippi State, Arkansas, if you want to.
Mississippi State at Arkansas. I'm gonna have to take Arkansas minus the 6.5 here. I feel like that's a good line for Arkansas against this struggling Mississippi State team. As we always say, we are really too high on the horse with this Mississippi State team this year, but Arkansas has proved themselves to be a pretty dadgum good football team, and they were getting blown out at the beginning of the game last week with Bama, but then towards the end of the game they turned it on a little bit, made it a good game, made it a football game, and made it to where they were in reaching distance to winning, but Bama kind of controlled it. But Arkansas, I got to take a minus 6.5 here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also taking Arkansas in this game. I feel like Arkansas is right on the edge. They just hadn't really got over the hump yet. They've had multiple one-possession games, and they just hadn't came out on top in any of those. And they're 2-5, but they're the best 2-5 football team out there. They're gonna fight, bite, claw, and nail, and compete every time they play. And Mississippi State just hadn't impressed at all. They may have a better record per se, but I don't think they're a better football team than Arkansas. But this is also where I feel like morale is really low for Arkansas. They've had a lot of heartbreakers in the last couple of weeks, especially in SEC play with LSU and Alabama. and Ole Miss too. Didn't they have a close game with Ole Miss?
Arkansas.
Or no, they haven't.
I don't know. You got me on that one.
Anyway,
We're stuck on that one, boys.
We're struggling a little bit. Our minds are not right here right now. We're trying to get it out.
Yeah, we're getting it out there.
Anyways, the morale might be low for this Arkansas team, and they could come out slow and sluggish and not really.
I think really it might just be a breakout game to say, hey, let's turn it on towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
We haven't had a very good beginning of the season, and I'm not saying KJ Jefferson as a a veteran and this team in general. They're not just saying, oh, we played good against Bama, so now we can play better. But I mean, when you keep a close game with a team like Alabama, it doesn't boost the morale, but it kind of helps it linger around a little bit. And I don't know what I was doing at the intro of this thing, because I should have started out by saying it is the third Saturday in October, baby. I mean, the spirits are high for the Vol fans. I'm sure I don't want to hear anything from any Alabama fans today, but we got a Bama -9 at home. Last year you got to see the old wobbly, schlobbly field goal go over by about a foot. What a game it was, too. I mean, that was the best football game of the year, for sure, for Tennessee fans, but it was actually probably the best football game of the year. I mean, everyone's going to be watching this one this week. If you're a Georgia fan, you got to buy. If you're any type of SEC fan, if you're any type of old school football fan, you're watching this game this week. So it's going to be the one to watch, and I got to take my Tennessee Volunteers plus the 9 in this situation. It's really going to – I've already said how I feel about this game, but Tennessee could definitely pull the outright win in this game, I believe.
Yeah.
It's going to be defensively is how they're going to probably have to do it, and that run game's going to have to run hard. But if I believe that they can pull the outright win, why wouldn't I take the 9 points?
Oh yeah, I mean it's going to be a tight game, probably tighter than a lot of people expect, but it's really going to be one in the trenches, like we said earlier, and also who makes the least amount of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's honestly hard to take my Vols for an outright win, because they even the past couple years we hadn't really shown that we can win on the road. You know what I mean? And this is a big road game, a big environment. Revenge is a factor. There's a lot of external factors in this game. I mean, and they're not leaning towards Tennessee. That's kind of sucks, but that's how it is. And I do believe that they can win this game, and I'm hoping and praying that they win this game. But I got Alabama in a close one. Both quarterbacks are going to be rattled by the pass rush, I think, and I think that's the reason it stays close, because Tennessee's defense. But definitely I'll take Tennessee plus the 9, but Bama to win.
I agree with you there, man. I agree with you. But next we got South Carolina at Missouri. Missouri's going to be a little piped up for this one. South Carolina, I got to take them plus the 7.5 here. And literally it's the hook. It's the hook. It's the half the point there. I think that Missouri will probably win this game by exactly a touchdown. If this was 6.5, I'd have to be on the other side. It's really a toss-up line here. But the only reason that I'm taking South Carolina is because of Spencer Rattler. So South Carolina plus a 7.5 against Missouri.
I'm going to tell you, Arkansas did play Ole Miss. It was 20-27. I remember it because Jackson Dart and KJ Jefferson both didn't really show up a whole lot in that game. They didn't play very good. But it was a tight game there that they could have won at the end. But on South Carolina, Missouri, South Carolina, they hadn't been able to pull out close games either. Like last week against Florida, they had a chance to win that game. They probably should have won that game. They ended up getting beat by Florida. And they've kind of just been drug around this year. They're not exactly what I was expecting them to be. I was kind of expecting them to progress and be a little bit better, be more middle of the pack to higher tier SEC team, but they're just not doing that right now. So Missouri's hot, and Missouri's at home. So I'm taking Missouri minus 7.5.
Yeah, gotta respect that pick. It was a tough one for me. Next we got Ole Miss at Auburn. I know Auburn plays a lot better at home, but I'm gonna lay the points with Ole Miss here. I just think they're a dynamic football team. They're gonna throw different things at Auburn. A lot of people are gonna want to side with Auburn on this one because of what they did at home versus Georgia. I know they're at home. I know how it is at that home field, but I just got to take Ole Miss in this situation. They're pretty hot this year. They're looking pretty good. So I'm gonna side with Ole Miss minus the 6.5.
I'm also siding with Ole Miss. Minus 6.5. Bless you, by the way. Bless you. Anyways,
Oh, that one hurt.
Auburn, like you said, I know they showed up at home against Georgia and made it close there at the end, especially. But I gotta take Ole Miss. They're hot right now. They had one down game, and their offense did against Alabama, which is probably one of the best defenses in the SEC, probably maybe even the country. I mean, they're great on defense, and I don't know. Jackson Dart is a better quarterback, and I'm looking at this game and I'm thinking, who's a better quarterback? Jackson Dart, 100%.
Jackson Dart or whoever's gonna play at Auburn. You never know. Is it Robbie Ashford?
Is it Peyton Thorne? You don't know.
Thorne? You don't know.
But Ole Miss is going to score too much for Auburn to keep up with.
Yeah,
Offensive struggles this year, just all year they've been struggling on offense, and I don't think they'll be able to put up enough points to stay within 6.5.
I definitely I feel better about that one than the most of them. Next we got Army at LSU. I know LSU is a high-scoring, dynamic offense. They'll throw up points on you. But I'm going to take Army in this situation because of the pace of play. I don't see Army putting up possibly any points, but hopefully they can get me a touchdown. If they can get me a touchdown, then I think I feel comfortable with this one. LSU, they could blow them out of the water. This could be easily a 42 or 56 to nothing game, but I think Army's just going to try to slow the game down with their little triple option and just bleed the clock and hopefully a backdoor cover will get me here on this 32.5. So I'm going to take Army plus 32.5.
This one was kind of a tough one for me just because it's such a big spread, and when it spreads over like 25 points, it's really tough for me to take a team favored by that much, especially in college football. But I mean, I hadn't watched a whole lot of Army, but I do know they hadn't put up very many points against okay opponents. They hadn't really played anybody that's great, as good as LSU, definitely.
Yeah,
and they hadn't put up a whole lot of points.
Yeah.
But also, you could say LSU's defense has been struggling a little bit this year.
Suspect on defense, yeah.
So, I don't know. It couldn't go either way, but the spread could go either way. And I'm siding with LSU, taking the SEC in this one. That's my reasoning behind it. Jaden Daniels puts up NCAA 14 numbers every week. So he'll probably continue to do it against Army. So, just recap, I got Arkansas minus 6.5, Tennessee plus 9, Missouri minus 7.5, Ole Miss minus 6.5, and LSU minus 32.5.
Recap on mine. I got Arkansas minus the 6.5, Tennessee plus the 9, South Carolina minus the 7.5, Ole Miss minus the 6.5. Sorry, that was South Carolina plus the 7.5, and then Army plus 32.5. We'll look into my picks for this week outside of the SEC. Doing a lot better outside of the SEC. This is where I try to make the bread at. I do have one SEC pick this week, and it's Arkansas. I actually got Arkansas at minus 6, though, so if you're seeing that, buy it down. Don't forget to follow us on the TikTok. That's where I try to post these picks every week. I think I forgot to one week, but I'm 17-8 on the year, so it's looking pretty good if you're trying to make some cash. But yeah, Arkansas minus the 6. I got Oregon going to get revenge this week against Washington State after they fell to Washington University last week. So I got them going to get a little bit of revenge on, just take out their frustrations, take out their anger on Washington State.
What's the spread on that game?
Minus 19. Oregon minus 19.
You really have that much confidence in Oregon?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Oregon should have won that game. If you look at the box score last week of the Oregon-Washington game, you would say, if you could only look at the box score and not see the score, you'd say, oh, Oregon won the game. They were in the turnover battle. They had more yards. They had about 100 more yards than they did. Total offense, first downs, all that good stuff, and still managed to lose that game. I believe this is a team that's going to climb back, possibly end up winning the Pac-12 this year in a revenge game against Washington. I'd rather it be USC because that's who I had my money on at the beginning of the year. But
USC don't look very hot right now.
And I mean, you're talking about a Washington State team that got beat 44-6 last week by Arizona.
Arizona's a pretty good team. I know
Arizona's a good team. I just do not think they're as good.
I just don't think that I don't know. I just feel like maybe Washington State didn't show up there. It is a pretty tough one.
It's a tough one, and the sharp money's going against me on this one. This line was at about 20.5 at the beginning of the year. I'm at the beginning of this week, and now it's dropped to 19. So, but I gotta feel good with what I got. So Oregon minus the 19. Like I said, Arkansas minus the 6. I got Eastern Michigan plus 12. I just think Eastern Michigan can keep the game a little close and get that cover there. And then I've got Air Force minus the 10 against Navy. This is going to be a very slow-paced game. Both teams are going to run the option. Sadly, makes me sound like I didn't do my homework, but I did pick Air Force before I knew that they were missing their starting quarterback. I was like, I have to hurry up and get this thing. Why is this line at 10? And then I figured out why this line's at 10. It would be more around 21 probably with that starting quarterback. But I'm still going to side with the Air Force. They got a good running back. They got a really good fullback. The fullback's getting like 4.6 yards a carry right now. So I expect the backup quarterback to just come in, manage the game a little bit. He's came in a few times this year, looked pretty good. So hopefully Air Force can pull it out for me. I've been strong on them this year, and they haven't let me down yet. So recap, it's Oregon minus 19, Arkansas minus 6, Eastern Michigan plus 12, Air Force minus 10. And we gonna pray for them balls to get all over Bama on the third Saturday in October.
Pray for Jalen Wright's yards per carry at 7.2 to go up to 9.3.
7.2 will be just fine with me. Just keep handing the dude the ball, keep that three-headed monster rolling, because they sure do look good right now. So let's sack Milroe about 20 times today. How about that?
That'd be nice. All right, let's get on up, get out of here. See y'all, guys.
See you guys.